Grab your favorite alcoholic or non-alcoholic beverage, do not drink and drive, and join us for the latest episode of Why Complain When You Can Whine. Everything in this episode is purely for psychoeducational and entertainment purposes only. Enjoy! Welcome to Why Complain When You Can Whine, making sense of the senseless, which is fucking getting harder and harder to do. Attempting to make sense of toxic nonsense while drinking wine or any alcoholic beverage or non-alcoholic beverage of your choice. I am Dr. Jody Larman, licensed clinical psychologist, and today I am actually drinking coffee, and this is called Amarula.
Oh, Amarula, yes.
Have you had that? Yeah, it's like a cross between Kahlua and Bailey's.
Yep.
I guess is the easiest way to describe it. So that is in my coffee because nowadays it needs to be the strongest coffee with alcohol. I mean, it is really, really hard. If I didn't have a private practice right now and this was all that I did, I literally would not think twice probably about, well, that makes no sense. Think twice probably about smoking weed while we're doing this. It has gotten to that point.
Stranger things are happening these days.
It has gotten to that point.
Anything goes. No Law and Order anymore.
Oh my gosh. My cup today is my grumpy mug.
Oh, I
nice
love
and big too.
Oh,
and I'm going to tell you, okay, this says hot temper because I am grumpy. I am grumpy Tinkerbell mixed in one. Sleepy bags, cold coffee, which it is kind of cold right now, but that's okay. It's got alcohol, and minor back pain. I have kind of major back pain, but still. And I will tell you right now that I admit to a very heavy pour in this. So I'm not 100% sure how strong this is.
Saturday. No judgment. No judgment here, man. That's not our job. As mental health professionals, we don't judge, right? On that note, I am Bree Burry. I am a licensed clinical therapist up in British Columbia, Canada, and I am drinking good old Starbucks, just regular coffee, no alcohol. We're having an atmospheric river right now. It's raining, meaning that's a lot of rain. Like I live in a rainforest, so hence is to the rain. And what are we going to be talking about today, Dr. Lerman?
I'd like to call this a case study in narcissistic personality disorder. We are literally living.
I know.
And I don't know, you're in Canada, so you're a part of this. I don't know, United Kingdom watches is our second highest, United Kingdom. And then Canada, I think it is. But US, United Kingdom, and Canada watches our podcast the most.
Okay.
So pretty much everybody in the vicinity of watching this has been affected in somehow, some way by the narcissistic fuckery that is going on in the United States. That I literally, if this was not so serious, it would be hysterical.
You know, it's interesting.
Sadly.
I know everybody thought once upon a time, and there's so many, even my parents and other people saying, God, if Trump gets in, we are all in big trouble.
Yeah.
Seeing the dictatorship that's been blatant from the beginning. And I watched I don't know if it was a Canadian psychiatrist or mental health professional, but they basically were reading out of the DSM, narcissistic personality disorder, and making an announcement about Trump and his pathological malignant narcissism and that he's a sociopath. Now, if we literally, Dr. Larman has the DSM, I've got
I'm
the
getting
DSM,
it. Right. I'm going to get it right now.
Great idea. So as she's
getting so I'm just rolling my chair over instead of standing up.
Yeah.
How bad is that?
Literally, is if you read what she's about to read here of the 9 traits of narcissistic personality disorder, and then the 9 traits of, antisocial personality disorder, mix those together, and that is Donald Trump to a T. And I've never seen my prime minister in 10 years. Okay, so we're about to have another election coming up, ever. And I've never been more proud to watch him stand up to Trump and the way that he's been articulating and conducting himself, Justin Trudeau. Now, has Justin been the best leader we've ever had? Have we? No, he's made mistakes. The economy's been shit. He tried to get us through COVID, but man, oh man, over the last month, ever since Trump got in and threatened the tariffs, Trudeau has really taken a stand and has done a really great job in, you know, standing up for our country and standing up for what we need to do. And the fact that there's still so many people that continue to be willfully blind. Ignorance is bliss until it isn't. And that's what we're moving into. If you and everybody else watching this podcast does not think that he is trying to initiate war within all countries, you are sadly mistaken. He is provoking every leader around the world, every single one, every single one. What he did to Zelensky in his office and how disgusting that was with Vance and mocking him about his suit while he's trying to fight
The
for.
reporter that asked that question is Marjorie Taylor
Oh, I
Greene.
know. Oh, no, no, no. It's a boyfriend. Yeah. And who's the one? Why aren't you wearing a suit? Why aren't you wearing a suit? And Donald being so offended by that. But here's the deal. Isn't it ironic? And here's the hypocrisy in its most purest form that he can sit there and get offended that Zelensky's not wearing a suit in the Oval Office. Yeah, Musk doesn't. But he continues to call our prime minister governor of Canada. Governor blatantly, and Carolyn, his representative or his spokesperson, it is such a blatant insult and form of disrespect to call another world leader not by their political title. Who the fuck do you think you are? I'm sorry, but it makes me angry. And he's doing it and he's laughing when he does it. He thinks it's funny. There shows his intellectual immaturity, his emotional immaturity, and everybody that falls along. He is not a governor. He is a prime minister. We don't have a president. We have a prime minister. Okay? Don't be such a disrespectful dick. But heaven forbid, a man who's fighting for the people of his country to survive shows up decently dressed, looks very well, but not wearing a suit and you're going to be insulted? Hmm, that's the pot calling the kettle black. Is it not?
Here, you know what else is very, very, very scary? Very scary is there have been at least two articles that I've read, and there's more, about how the reason why people are not standing up to him is because they are getting threatened.
Yep.
MAGA, they have to hire security. This one had to hire security for their kindergartner to go to school. Their spouses are also telling them, shh, because they're all in the crosshairs. Because the flying monkeys of MAGA are doxing them, threatening them, and doing all of Trump's bidding in the name of Trump because Trump is calling them to
I know.
do it, calling on them to do it.
It's so disturbing.
So here is the criteria for narcissistic personality disorder. A pervasive pattern of grandiosity in fantasy or behavior, the need for admiration and lack of empathy, beginning by early childhood and presenting in a variety of contexts as indicated by, you only need five or more of the following.
To get the diagnosis, yeah.
Has a grandiose sense of self-importance. In other words, for example, exaggerates achievements and talents, expects to be recognized as superior without commensurate achievements. He is down. He is negative in the polls right now.
Mhm.
He has more people going. Nowadays, people are going to town halls, Republican town halls, to complain. Republicans are going to Republican town halls to complain. Trump is giving his, I did not watch the Congress speech. I can't stand to see the man, let alone hear him. But he talked about how anybody that is, they're all paid actors. So people aren't really disgruntled. They're just paid actors paid by the Democrats to be disgruntled, and that his numbers are the highest ever in history. That's what he always says. It's the best in history, ever in history. He's the greatest. He is the bottom of all 47 presidents. He is number 47. He is the worst, named the worst by everybody. But whenever he sees that, he says that they're all paid to say that by the Democrats, that people really love him. So he has nothing to back this up. It's all the opposite. But his grandiosity, he exaggerates everything.
Mhm.
So he's got one. Is preoccupied with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. Yes?
Yep, all of them.
Okay. Believes he or she is special, in quotes, and unique and can only be understood by or should associate with other special high status people or institutions.
Absolutely.
Now we got three. Requires excessive admiration. Now we got
That's
four. Has a sense of entitlement. In other words, unreasonable expectations of especially favorable treatment or automatic compliance with
oh
his
my
or
God.
her
It's
expectations.
literally there, right? It's like they've written about him specifically. That's
So
5.
he's got five right there.
Mhm.
And people say you can't diagnose him. You haven't met him.
Oh,
You do not need to meet him.
you don't. It's easier to diagnose him watching him outside of a clinical setting because this is how he acts in public and presents himself socially on a day-to-day basis. The guy loves talking about himself. Ding, 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 ding.
So we got five, right?
Yep, keep going.
So he already meets it. I laugh only because I see this, I know what I'm going to say, and this is so fucking obvious. Like you said, it's like they wrote it because of him. Not
Mhm.
he is because of the book, but they wrote it based on him. Is interpersonally exploitative. In other words, takes advantage of others to achieve his or her own ends. I think that's a yes.
I think that's yes.
So now we're at six.
Mhm.
Lacks empathy, is unwilling to recognize or identify with the feelings and needs of others.
Others, yep, 100%.
Kevin. Okay, our stock market is tanking.
I know.
He said in 2012 or 2013 that if any time the Dow goes down 1,000 points, that president should be impeached no matter what.
Mhm.
Bye.
But here's the thing. He's been impeached twice. It did
Didn't
nothing.
matter. No, and that's all
Didn't
because of
matter. It
Mitch
doesn't
McConnell.
matter.
That's all because of Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, I know, but
He
the
refused.
Constitution, which the US prides themselves on, it doesn't even matter anymore. He's
Oh no.
ousting the
Oh no.
Constitution, which is your law and order. How the f
Okay, so now we're at seven, right? Number eight is often envious of others or believes that others are envious of him or her.
Oh yeah, he thinks everybody's obsessed with him.
Yes, everybody loves him.
Everybody.
Everybody. All the world leaders think he's doing a fantastic job, the best job ever of any person, president, leader in the history of people, presidents, and leaders. Number nine, the last one, shows arrogant, haughty behaviors or attitudes,
Yep.
or
Well,
haughty, whatever you want to call it.
haughty. Yeah, just big time, huge arrogance, ego, asshole behavior, terrible,
Yep.
nasty, but likes to think that he's kind.
Um, Now there's diagnostic features that clarify all of these things as if we needed them, you know. So people ask, it's not just the criteria because they say, so what? So what? The criteria. They don't meet the criteria based on the writing. It's not the words exactly as written. It's all the nuances that are around those words as well. Like in the case of Trump, it's blatant. You don't need to explain how he meets these criteria. You know, and anybody who does not share in that one brain cell, one common brain cell that all of the MAGA seem to share, that just one. But people who actually can critically think don't need a breakdown of how he meets this.
Mm.
MAGA people, because they're in a narcissistic relationship,
Mhm.
they
That's
don't see it. They don't want to see it.
well, this
And
is willful blindness,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, willful blindness. Ignorance is bliss until it's not.
And a lot of people that voted for him. And I love seeing this. I swear, if it did not affect everybody else, it would be popcorn and just endless videos of this. Trumpers, people that voted for Trump. I just saw another one today in Virginia, in a heavy Trump town, where a lot of federal workers got laid off. And now they're like, what? We knew stuff was going to happen, but we didn't think it was going to happen to us.
This is again, this is
Every
thing.
single one.
Fucking
Every MAGA
ignorance.
person says that
I
same.
know. I didn't think it was gonna happen to me. Well, who the fuck did you're part of the you are that population. Who was it gonna happen to?
And
The
how fucked up are you that
climate.
you don't care that it
Yeah.
would happen to another person?
Yeah. See,
Voted
there
for,
you
I
go.
didn't
No
care
empathy.
that it
No
was going to
empathy.
happen to anybody
No
else.
empathy. I don't care about anybody else. I just care about me, myself, and I. And there's the narcissism again, and not being able to think outside of the way that you think. It just, and that it's going to happen. It's like living in the twilight zone, or sorry, just this sense of immorality, like nothing will ever happen to you.
Hmm.
What the hell?
There
Here's
is, sorry.
generations. No, it's okay. Republicans that are generational Republican that have been like, it's been, my family's been Republican, my grandparents were Republican, my great grandparents were Republican. We've been, and the farmers, right? And all of the red states that are like heavy farm that are like, now we are being affected by this, and we voted for Trump, and we were positive Trump, and
We didn't
now
know he was going to take our
we didn't
immigrants.
know we were gonna be affected by this, and we didn't know it was gonna happen to us. And I'm like, where the fuck were you? What, like, again, how did you not, again, but this just goes to show the level of ignorance
There
and
was
lack of critical thinking. Who did you think it was gonna happen
an
to?
arrogance and audacity, or what I will call caucasity, because it's mainly white people, white males. But this white woman, they interviewed her today because she got laid off, or she did a video. News channel did a video. She got laid off in Virginia, and she's like, I'm a three-time Trump voter, and I didn't realize that this was going to happen to us, that he was going to lay us off. We thought it was going to happen to other people. Like literally saying, we did not think this was going to happen to us, but to others. Admitting it. And people are like, fuck you. So you were okay with shit happening to other people. You were okay with voting for somebody that you knew was going to harm people. But as long as they didn't harm you, you were okay with it. There was a Mexican guy, US citizen, Trump voter, that immigration put in handcuffs and detained him. And he kept saying, I'm an American citizen, on and I'm a Trump voter, on and on. They finally let him go. But he was like, I just got detained for being Mexican. I thought they were just going to take the criminals. Really? You really fucking thought that he was, and how is he going to find out who's a criminal?
Mhm.
Because the criminals are already in prison, aren't they?
Mhm.
Otherwise, they're just presumed. I'm not saying that there aren't criminals running around that haven't been caught, but that's not my point. My point is if they're a criminal and they know they're a criminal, they're either in court or in jail or in prison. So
Mhm.
you're going to go to a job with someone that doesn't, that maybe has a warrant out for his arrest. That's a different story too. But you thought being Mexican, he was going to, they don't keep a list of Trump voters. And guess what? You voted for Trump.
Mhm.
He doesn't need you anymore. That's past tense. You
Exactly.
are
Again, use people, extortion, use to benefit, use to get. Now,
exploitation.
what do you think? Now, being a malignant narcissist isn't just being a narcissist. When you look at the
Hmm,
spectrum of personality pathology
I dropped it.
and how you've got people that have traits and you have people that operate differently, or there's covert narcissism. Now, Trump is a textbook classic grandiose narcissist, but malignant, meaning he is the
He
worst
can be
word,
diagnosed with ASPD,
SPD.
antisocial person,
Exactly, right? Which
antisocial personality disorder. Let me
it's
read that one.
yeah, and to conceptualize that one in one phrase is really lacking the regard for the rights of others,
Yep.
right?
Um, dang it, where is it? Sorry. And I'm sorry because I dropped the book. I closed it and dropped it, so I know this is so unprofessional. But who says I'm professional right now? Not me. Sorry. Uh force what? We're not about professional, we're about real.
Yeah, we're about real. It's all good.
Okay. Now, um, sorry, I just want my past it. Where are we? Okay. The one thing too about narcissistic personality is part of cluster B.
Mhm.
And you can have traits of histrionic and borderline and antisocial. So there are some borderline stuff that I see from him too.
Which is what?
Someone is his friend unless he does something that they don't like, and then suddenly they're the most horrible person in the world. And how dare you do this to me? How dare
Oh
you?
well,
And then
yeah, yeah, it's the
the
splitting, the
push
idolizing.
you away, pull
You
you back, push you away, pull you
pull you
back.
back. Yeah, yeah. I hate you. Don't leave me.
Yeah. Fuck you, you asshole. Get away from me.
That
Why did you
I
go?
need you.
Why did you leave me?
Yeah. Abandonment.
What? Well,
Hmm.
then you're just an asshole anyways. Um, Come on. Why am I having a hard time finding this back again?
I
It
like
doesn't want to
tortured
let me.
milkshake. Now, what I find interesting is watching some of these, mental health professionals get on and make public statements about his mental health and what he really is. And yet people are like, huh? What? Huh? One woman's like, oh, I said this years ago that he was narcissistic. I'm like, everybody knows he's a narcissist. Like, what, are you new to the party? Where have you been for the last 8 years? Like, the guy is blatantly mentally ill.
I have had, and you may have had this too, people that comment to me, oh, you know, because you've met him, you don't know shit, you can't diagnose him. And it's like, you don't know psychology. Yes, we can diagnose him. I
Mhm,
am allowed to diagnose him.
mhm.
I have the credentials. Well, you just like you met him. I had so many people say, yeah, like you sat down with him to interview him to diagnose him. It's like you obviously don't know diagnoses.
Well, we should tell those
Diagnose.
people to go watch the documentary on Trump by all the psychiatrists in the US that say it's easier to diagnose him because they don't have him in a clinical setting, which Trump could easily manipulate that because they can assess his behavior in public when he's out in the real world, acting as how he acts, not trying to, he doesn't feel like he's got mental health professionals scrutinizing him or putting him under a microscope. He's being who he is
When
right
I
out
worked
in
in
the
the
open, which is
prison,
easier to diagnose them than if you were to take a person in where they know, and so they're going to put on a show or they're going to put up on a mask or they're going to try to manipulate the psychiatrist or the psychologist, which is so common with people who have ASPD or narcissism.
when I worked in the prison, we would diagnose based on watching them.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
they'd come in an interview and we'd come up with somewhat of a diagnosis. You get a working diagnosis. But watching them, I had guys come to me, and I've said this before. One guy walks up and he's walking really, really, really slow, and he's talking, barely talking. He's so depressed. But yet out on the yard, he's chewing it up with the guys. Now, I know people mask depression, but we can also see there's other things. When you're masking depression, there's other things that you're doing that we see that you're trying to not show depression,
But you can't help it, you are.
but you can. But these guys, when they're out there chewing it up, the guy that I'm talking about that was whispering. I walked up behind him one day when he was talking to all his buddies and he's all animated and moving. And I just sat there for a little bit watching him. And his friends were facing me and they saw me and they knew who I was and everything. And they're just kind of chuckling because as soon as he realized someone was behind, they're looking at someone, he turns around and literally you could see he goes, I'm like, oh, what's wrong? I'm not, I'm not doing well today. Really? Oh, okay. Go on in and we'll talk. I'm like, you're not doing well. You didn't realize I was standing behind you for a good 5 minutes.
He's putting
A
on a,
good
well, it's
5 minutes.
manipulation. He's manipulating you. So
So
that's
yeah,
right.
observation is most important. Just like I've had people say to me, I am not depressed. And you look at them and they haven't showered, they haven't cleaned, they haven't eaten, they haven't gone outside.
Mhm.
They haven't they're anhedonic, which is things don't give them pleasure anymore. They're just kind of mats and so it's not what they say. It's observation is the
Mhm.
vast part of our diagnosing.
Mhm.
So, cluster B, a pervasive pattern of disregard for, and I'm sorry, antisocial personality, a pervasive pattern of disregard for and violation of the rights of others occurring since age 15. So I don't know how he was after 15 or before 15. I don't know how he was as a young adult. I know he does not have a good history. So
No.
I'm gonna assume even if it didn't start prior to the age of 15 and it started older, because at age by before age of 15, it's called conduct disorder.
Conduct disorder. Yeah.
Someone has conduct disorder, it turns into antisocial personality.
It's the precursor. You have to
Yeah.
show all the traits as a kid, basically prior to the age of 15 in order to get diagnosed with AS or ASPD.
So so he can have traits, even if he doesn't meet all the criteria, which we'll talk about, but he has traits.
Oh, 100%.
Failure to conform to social norms with respect to lawful behaviors as indicated by repeatedly performing acts that are grounds for arrest.
I'm high, 34-time convicted felon. Gee, I
And
wonder.
and there's still so many more that the cases were dropped.
Rapist,
So
sexual offender,
yeah. So
right?
I think
Tax
that's a
fraud.
I I
I
think we're
think he
good on that.
doesn't follow social norms, meaning he doesn't follow the law. That's what that means.
And there is no law with him, so he's following whatever because the Constitution is supposed to be the law.
Yeah, I know, but he's above the Constitution and
Yeah.
he's above the law because that's sociopathic, narcissistic people. They are above the law. They make their own rules.
And
But
they've
everybody else
come
has to
out
follow the
and
rules. Everybody
and
else has to follow the rules.
they've come out and said that he is the law.
You know,
Like
it's
all
brutal.
the
Like
judges,
he's behaving like a king. He thinks he's basically the king. He like this is the most insane example of power, of what he just sees himself as being the elitist of the world.
mm.
World.
Now this one,
Okay.
his nickname is what? Don the Con?
Yeah.
Deceitfulness, as indicated by repeated lying, use of aliases, or conning others for personal profit or pleasure. He's named Don the Con is one of his nicknames.
I know, like, come on, guys. Like, this is exactly how he's gay. He rips people off for a living. He blatantly.
Impulsivity or failure to plan ahead. He's not impulsive at all. He thinks
No,
things through so well.
no.
That's why we have, oh my God, we just allowed the firing of all the nuclear people, and now no one's looking after our nuclear stuff. Holy shit, we need to hire them back.
Mhm.
But now we can't find them because we don't have updated contact information.
How about let's just change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf
The
of
Gulf
America.
of
And
America.
I have the power to do it.
Hey, let's get Greenland and Panama Canal and Canada. And now, you know what his latest thing with Canada is? I just saw this morning. The boundaries and borders of Canada are incorrect, and we need to change them.
Of course we do. Of course we do.
They've been borders and boundaries for how long?
Okay, here's a little bit of no information for those of you who are still struggling to understand tariffs, okay? Just a quick bit here. Back in 2017, Trump is the one that initiated the tariffs that we already have in place. He's the one that signed on. This was his deal back in 2017.
But he
So
also created, hold on, he did create and the and continue the three-way trading we have
yes,
with Mexico,
yes,
Canada, US.
yes,
There was
yes,
an agreement, a pact
yes.
to continue the
And
free
it's
flow
right. Yes.
of stuff across all three borders. Or
So he's saying that, that Canada, they've been ripping us off and, these tariffs and dairy and blah, blah, blah. So now he's putting a retaliatory tariff on the whole dairy thing, right? So for Canadians to buy US dairy, here's the deal. We don't need your dairy, nor do we really want it. And very few people in Canada buy US dairy. Do you know why?
because your
Uh,
guys' milk, you keep in bags anyways. Your milk and eggs
yes.
are kind of better than ours, aren't they?
Well, here's the thing. They're better for you because we don't use bovine. Bovine is a growth hormone they use in the cows to produce more milk. When the cows are hooked up to the milking machines and whatever, and they get infected, they put the cows on antibiotics. They still keep producing the milk. The animals are suffering, and now you have not only bovine or bovine, however you pronounce it, in your milk, which is a known carcinogen. Secondly, antibiotics, which is really not good for you. So in Canada, we don't, bovine is illegal. It's a banned substance that we're not allowed to use it. We don't use it. We don't do growth hormones in cows to produce a disgusting amount of milk for a massive population, and we don't abuse the animals. Secondly, if our cows happen to go on an antibiotic because they're not well, we have to wait until that cow is off the antibiotic and the milk has been discarded. It has to be discarded because we're not allowed to sell milk that has antibiotics in it. So why the fuck would we buy US dairy? We already know we don't need it. We have a lot of dairy farmers, a lot of egg, a lot of everything. Honestly, Why? We don't need
Especially at a
dairy.
250% tariff.
Well, 120, like again, and we have great dairy. We have
Oh, he
healthier dairy.
doubled. He doubled the tariff. Did you hear
Doubled the
that?
tariff. He doubled. So we don't we already buy our own dairy. I've never ever even seen other than Costco US dairy. And I would never buy it anyway because we know it's not good for you because our dairy is cleaner.
And that's why, like, I drink almond milk or something. My son was allergic to dairy growing up, so I use milk in my coffee. He uses it in his cereal. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. We don't, other than that, we use soy milk or sorry, almond milk.
Hmm.
Sometimes oat milk, but
Hmm.
and soy milk for a long time. But
But
um,
what but getting back to what's going on with Trump and this and the tariffs, everybody's like, well, tariffs. Rah, rah, rah." I'm like, no, his whole intention here just isn't tariffs, guys. The whole idea is to weaken and break the economies, and so they're easier to take over.
over.
When Trudeau has said that this is to annex Canada because he keeps talking about us being the 51st state, he's not kidding. This isn't a joke.
Nothing he says is
This is a
joking.
joke. He may be laughing about it, but he's laughing all the way to the I'm just going to continue to keep needling and poking and breaking everybody down
Yep.
until everybody just gives in.
Yep.
So this is dangerous. This is super, super dangerous. We will not become the 51st
No.
state ever. We will be going to war long before that happens, but this is what he wants. War creates money. And
Yeah.
what does he want? He wants more
Money.
money. He wants more power. So he's lining himself with Putin and Russia and then against the rest of the
World.
world.
He's he even did a speech where he said that all the leaders like uh Kim Jong-un,
Yeah, Kim Jong-un.
Putin, love
Yeah.
him. It's like, great, okay. We really want to align ourselves now with China, Russia, and North Korea.
Mhm.
No, we
Not
don't.
China. China's hard against the US. They're not aligning themselves at all with the
No,
US.
because he keeps doing
Because of the
tariffs on
tariffs.
them too.
Because, well, this is just it. Everybody is going to be going against him. And here's another thing. Okay, so everybody thinks that you don't need Canada. You need us more than we need you because Doug Ford will shut off the power, and he can. And he
Sadly, the places he's shutting off the power are a lot
the
of
red states, I know, which are all blue states, which is really shitty. But again, this is a fuck you, back off,
yep.
stop bullying everybody. Nobody is going to back down to you. And all the alcohol, walk into my liquor stores and all the US alcohol's gone. Everybody's
And
pulled everything off the shelf.
you know what MAGA says online? They're like, what do we care? You guys already bought it anyways, so you're not hurting us.
Oh my God, you
You're not
fucking
seeing the big picture,
morons.
people. You're not
Um,
seeing the
it's
big.
not being sold. There's no money to go back to the producer if your booze isn't being sold.
And if you're not going to buy it again,
I'm not going to buy it again. Hello?
like,
Oh, I okay, and 1%. I know because I listened to the guy who owns Jack Daniels talk or whatever, and just saying that, it's 1% of their, but this really hurts, and this is like, it's not, and oh, and Trump, it's not fair. I,
okay, not fair. The auto industry lobbied Trump. His PAC gave money, donated. They're heavy Republican. He postponed the tariffs. And they're saying probably most likely one of the reasons he did that is because pickup trucks. Guess who buys pickup trucks the most? Republicans.
It's Republicans, yeah.
And
Yeah.
the auto people who gave him all sorts of money are now like, what the hell? We helped you get into office and now you're going to crush us. Because again, we should be buying American made cars. Fine. Even fucking Tesla made in America, the parts go back and forth. There's some Canadian parts, there's some Mexican parts. They may assemble the part here and then send it back to Mexico for the one part and then send it back to Canada. It crosses both borders.
Mhm.
One car is
Mhm.
not solely made 100%
Oh,
in the United States.
of course not. And lumber, same thing with Canadian lumber. You guys don't have enough fucking lumber to support
No.
the
And well, what he
entire
wants to do about that is start cutting down national parks.
Oh, lovely. That's
Yes.
great.
He wants
That's
to cut down
really
old growth. He wants to cut down our national forest. Yeah. And another thing, this guy was explaining some of the stuff like at Costco that was going to go up, and he said I think it was French's. I don't know. Mustard, just whatever. Mustard. Yes, it says made in the US, but guess where mustard seeds come from? They come from Mexico.
Yes, they
And
do.
then he said, this other thing comes, says US, but guess where the base that makes this comes from?
Exactly.
Canada.
Canada. Yeah.
So we go back and forth. It's
Mhm.
not like Canadian product, 1000% from Canada tariff. It is, even if you have one part, it's coming from Canada. And we can't do everything in the US for one. We can't do it all in a month to stop tariffs and build America up. Places, places take time to build,
Mhm.
to have the lumber to build,
Mhm.
or the steel or the aluminum or all the things that he put higher tariffs off. So he
Mhm.
wants us to build factories
Mhm.
in like a month and get them up and starting to work, I guess.
Mhm.
We can't grow some of the stuff here.
Mhm.
Even if we have a great state for growing, like Central California is good for certain things, Florida is good for certain things, we don't have enough everywhere.
Yeah.
Um,
Not even close. And again, we buy tons from Canada as much as you think that you don't. I mean, all of our Albertan oil, like, I mean, just come on, guys. Like, I mean, use
it's
your
not just Canadian Club, it's not
not
just
just,
CC whiskey
no,
or
it
whatever it's
isn't. It's
called.
so much more than that. But again, unnecessary tariffs where you are hurting another economy, all to break them down so you can annex them and to become, we will never become the 51st state. I will be moving to another planet before I ever become part of the US because I can sleep at night right now. I know I'm safe. And I'm sorry, but the lack of gun control and all the other shit down, fuck no. Fuck no.
Okay, so he needed three or more, and we did get three, but we're going to continue on. Irritability and aggressiveness, as indicated by repeated physical fights or assaults. Okay, he doesn't physically fight because he's too fat and old and wears a diaper and shits his pants. So fighting would not, but he does the legal fights.
Yeah, I know.
He does others to do his bidding with fights. So you
100%. Yeah.
can't say he doesn't meet that criteria because he doesn't physically fight.
Yeah.
When you're not physically capable of fighting,
Yeah.
you do it other ways. So this
Yep.
is where the nuance comes in, people. You can't say, you're lying. He doesn't meet that. He can't fight. It doesn't have to be a physical fight.
It doesn't.
So now we got four. Reckless disregard for safety of self or others. Not self, because he's
Okay.
narcissistic.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's
And
reckless
superstitious.
disregard.
That right.
Yeah. Reckless disregard for the safety of others.
Totally.
Absolutely. That's why we've had so many recently near and total crashes and losses of life in airplanes. And what does he do? Fires a bunch of FAA and TSA people.
Hmm.
I'm going on vacation in October. I don't know that I really want to fly, and I hope things are good by then. Who even knows what's going to happen by October? But I'm like, shit, I'm worried because we're flying in the US. What world? Okay, so now we're at five. Consistent, I'm sorry, but it's like how people can say this isn't him. Consistent irresponsibility as indicated by I'm sorry, this is such a good one. Consistent irresponsibility as indicated by repeated failure to sustain consistent work behavior or honor financial obligations. This is a man who went bankrupt 6 times
Hmm.
and he wants to do it with here.
Hmm.
USAID.
Hmm.
The court has ordered him to pay the billions of dollars for work that has already been done, and he's refusing.
I know. Yep.
And then
100%.
the last one, my God, he meets all the criteria of
Oh,
both. Lack of remorse, as indicated by being indifferent to or rationalizing having hurt, mistreated, or stolen from another.
yep. Ding, 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 ding. You know what the question is? is we can sit there and we can actually read out on a podcast, as many others may have already done, and get full-blown psychiatrists and psychologists who are qualified to do this and have studied mental health for how many years and psychology. And we can list this off, and there is still going to be a group of people that refuse to believe it and won't see it, refuse to see it. Again, willful blindness. You
Yes.
won't see it unless you want to see it. You will defend. It doesn't matter to you. Who cares? So
Hmm.
what? He's doing great things for our country. No, he wants to take over the world and he wants money and he doesn't fucking care who he hurts and if everybody else suffers.
Here is the willful blindness too. There is a creator, a Trump supporter on TikTok. He's got 1 million or more followers. And I used to follow him because he was reasonable. He was rational. He's black and he wanted black people to take accountability, stop using the race card, that kind of stuff. Great, that's good. I'm Jewish. He was very pro-Israel. But then when Trump won, he like went off the MAGA rails and everything, the smallest little thing, he's like, oh my God, look at what Trump's doing. He thought that Elon Musk's non-salute or salute was a non-salute, a non-anything. He put 3 separate videos up about it being nothing. And people said, then do it. Then do it. You have over 1 million followers. If it's nothing, do it. And he'd just go to another video about how it's nothing. All his comments. Most of his comments are all pro him, so I know he filters them out. But these 3 videos, I don't think he could. There was just too many. He wouldn't have had any comments. But then he put up a video about how great Trump is because of what he's doing with Shalom Hamas. It's a hello or goodbye, so you can get the fuck out. And he's like, look it, look it. And so I did make a comment and then I said, no, 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 no. After supporting Elon and his non-salute, that was really a Nazi salute, you don't get to say shit about Israel and the Jewish people. So keep your mouth shut, please. I think that comment was deleted. But then he put up another video, and this is where I'm going. Sorry, I had to say that one, but this is where I'm going with the willful blindness. Oh, so you think that Trump is racist? Look it. He had a little boy with cancer who's black in his Oval Office, and he hugged him. How is that racist? And look it. Everybody, all the Republicans are standing ovation for this little poor black cancer kid. And all the Democrats are sitting down and being rude to this little boy who's black. And you're saying that Trump is racist? And I'm just like, yeah, every racist has a black friend. How many racists do you know that don't admit to being racist because they have a black friend?
Mm-hmm.
This is Trump's black friend. And a black person saying how great it is that Trump has a black person in the Oval Office. That is proof that he is not racist. That's the mind fucking numbing, that one collective brain cell.
Yeah, because it's so limited. They're going to grasp onto every little thing that possibly might look like it points in the other direction to defend and to justify everything that he's doing. And blatantly racist and everything else under the sun. Again, people will choose not to see what they don't want to see. And there's nothing we can do. We could sit here and you could still have every, you know what, and to all the MAGA supporters or all MAGA and all the Trump supporters out there who choose to continue to follow gospel Trump or whatever they think Trump, like fucking God King Trump, is are literally it would look at you and be like, well, you're an unqualified psychologist. Well, you don't know what you're talking
I'm the idiot. Yep.
the idiot. You don't know. You're just another. And what the fuck makes you think you're
Liberal, woke,
yeah, a
Democrat.
woke fucking Democrat? And who cares that you're a psychologist? You don't know what you're talking about. Again, dealing with people that say the sky's purple when they know it's blue. Well, just because you're a psychiatrist doesn't mean you know what you're talking about. Like that's the kind of shit you're gonna get back from people that will choose to continue to see what they want to see and not see what's right in front of them and the reality of the situation.
Here's another example. I was getting my taxes done yesterday, and she was telling me about these clients that she had that are black, and they're very conservative. They're MAGA. And the husband called and said he's scared, he wants to get his money out of the stock market because of the stock market stopped crashing. And she's like, that's not my area. I'm a CPA. You know, you need to talk to your financial person. He's like, but I want to know the tax implications. And it's like, you're scared, but you're a Trumper. This is why he thinks that he needs to take it out because they are not allowing Trump to do his job. That's why the market's crashing.
Right. Again, do you see all of the unrealistic, so far-fetched, disproportionate, ludicrous theories that people are coming up with to
Who's they?
justify? Again, it
Who
does
is
nothing,
they?
nothing makes sense. Nothing
Yeah.
makes sense.
When you ask who they is, it's the collective. I guess it's the Democrats, I guess. Because now it has been linked to Trump. Trump was on fucking Fox and the market little tick
How about it's all Biden's fault? The reason why the market's crashing is because Biden. The
Biden.
reason why this is happening is because of Biden. Trying
Yeah.
to pull out of the Biden administration. No, no.
You know what the latest is? Trump said on day one, he's going to make grocery prices go down. On day one, groceries and gas. And since they're not going down, and the Democrats are saying, what happened? Trumpers are like, it takes more than a day. Why are you focusing on that?
Oh, again,
We
that's
know it
Biden's
takes more than a
problem.
day.
We're struggling now because it's Biden's administration. It's Biden's fault. It's Biden's
And
or
he keeps saying it's
Kamala,
Biden's fault.
right? Or Kamala would have taken us to war. Hi, what do you think is happening right now? Taking us to war? He's trying to initiate fucking war
Yes, big time.
everywhere, everywhere with the tariffs, pissing off leaders, insulting them deliberately, being like, oh, the strip of Gaza and Trump and statues and all this shit. Like it is preposterous and mind fucking blowing that you can still sit there and not think that this is exactly what he's intending to do.
Did you hear in Canada? I don't know if you guys got this, that two congressmen, I think it is, tried to put up resolutions or put up resolutions. One to get a $250 bill with his face on it, or a $100 bill and replace Benjamin Franklin with his face.
No.
Yeah, they're trying to push that through. No. One, dead presidents get put on bills. So,
But Jody, he's above the Constitution. He can do anything he wants.
yep, yep,
He's gonna axe the Constitution so he
yeah,
gets to be president forever.
yep.
And there's no term that he's because he's above rules, regulations, construct. He
He,
doesn't fucking care. And until the Constitution puts forth an act to get him fucking out, because
until
that's
Congress grows a fucking spine.
yeah, and some balls to fucking take him out, you're screwed. But here's the people are scared. They're starting to see how
Yes,
retaliatory he is and
yep,
how fucking scary he can
yep.
be. This is not just your average narcissist, folks. This is a malignant sociopath.
With someone who is the richest person in the world funding him.
He's also a narcissist, and this is what kills me. I'd love to see the two go at war, like head to head
They
here. But
will one day. They're already kind of starting.
yeah, because they're
But
narcissists. Narcissists don't get along with narcissists because they're constantly battling for control and power.
but here's Trump's big, huge narcissistic dilemma. He needs that money.
Well, of course he does. That's why he's
So
sitting.
it's like
But it's hard. Don't kid yourselves. He doesn't like Elon being like, "Oh, I'm president." Haha, just kidding. Or maybe not.
every time you see that, every time they put up about President Musk and stuff, it is just digging the knife.
Digging, twisting the knife, and he's just sitting there going, "Fuck, I can't do anything because he's the money behind the operation."
Because they always want someone that can do something for them. And
Of
until
course,
they can't do anything for them anymore, that's when they discard
he's
them.
got to make the relationship continue to work till because it serves him and it serves his purpose.
Because that's the only reason he can do all of this is because Musk has the money.
Mhm.
If Musk is gone,
It's interesting. Go back and watch JD Vance's earlier videos and everything before he was a Trump supporter, and he hated Trump.
he was a
He's
never Trumper.
he was never a Trumper. Apparently back in the day, and he spoke publicly how he wouldn't vote for Trump.
Trump was Hitler. Trump was horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, Trump was horrible. He's a misogynist. He's a racist. He's a this. He's a that. He's a terrible with money. He's terrible. Like there's no, and he didn't support him. And then all of a sudden, he's licking his asshole. Now he's vice president, and he's such a piece of shit.
Oh God, he is the most inept
I
fucking.
love
Ugh.
how Zelensky has like, have you been to Ukraine? Have you been to my
I've seen
country?
pictures.
And he had no fucking response other than, I watched the news or
I've
I
seen
watched what was happening.
pictures. Yeah.
Fuck you.
And that's the thing. Trump
Ignorant piece of shit.
promised Zelensky when he was running that we would have this great relationship. It would be wonderful. He's going to help him out. And
But
then
now,
he cut off all the intelligence surveillance and Russia attacked them. And Trump says, well, what was Russia supposed to do? They did what they're supposed to do. When somebody attacks you, you attack them.
and Zelensky, he's a dictator. He's really not in my good books right now. Like he's really the problem. Magically, overnight. It's just
Yeah.
again supportive and then all of a sudden magically not supportive. Hello. It's right in front of you. It's right in front of you. But this is the most frustrating part about narcissistic personality disorder and sociopathy and cluster Bs in general. And a personality disorder is defined by a very distorted a distorted thought process of how you see yourself in like on the inside and then the world around you. It's distorted. It's distorted to a very severe extent where it becomes problematic in your life, constantly, everywhere. But narcissism is about power. Sociopathy is about power. Again, I talk to my daughters about this because they ask all the time about Trump and what's going on in the world. And I'm like, well, remember watching Aladdin? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, do you remember the end of the movie when Jafar wants to be Sultan and then he wants to be Sultan's not enough. He wants to be a sorcerer because a sorcerer is dark and evil and it has more power than a sultan. And then that's not enough. And then he wants to kill Aladdin and then Aladdin tricks him. And he's like, wait a second. You aren't the most powerful being in the world. Genie is. Genie can take your power away. He can give it to you and he can take it back. And he goes, oh, you're right. I'm not the most powerful in the world. Oh my gosh. And he's like, Genie, my last wish. I want to be a genie, the most powerful, and rule the universe. And Aladdin tricked him because then he had the cuffs on and then he's back in the
He's in
bottle
the
and
bottle.
off he goes to
The genie is at the mercy of the person who gets him out of
exactly.
the
Yet
bottle.
he does have the ability to give people, but he got tricked. But this is the thing that happens with narcissism and sociopathy. It's all about power. It's all about greed. It is all about not giving a fuck about anybody but yourself. And so this is what he is doing. And again, you're watching MAGA. You are watching people who are hardcore Trump supporters turning the table. I can't believe I voted for him. Oh my God, I'm stupid. Oh my God, I wish I hadn't voted for him. One guy commented, he actually had the guts. And I commend him for this. Okay, so a Southerner. And he just says, I can't believe I voted for this guy. I was listening to everybody else and everybody in our area, they're all voting for him. This is what we needed to do. I really thought, I just can't believe I did it. I can't believe. And now look what's happening and blah, blah, blah. And then he goes and he says at the end of his video, I just wish I hadn't have even voted. And I went, what? So I asked him, I said, with all due respect, sir, I really commend you for coming on here. And I mean, let's give the guy credit. He's going to get a lot of hate and shit thrown at him because, but he was being honest and he was actually taking accountability and he was putting himself out there to get shit thrown back at him. But I said, with all due respect, and I commend your courageousness, but what do you mean you wouldn't have voted? You just wouldn't have voted for anyone? What about the Democrats?
Which is the same as voting for Trump at that point. But
Well, right. But he said, oh no, I would if I could go back, I'd vote for
no.
Kamala.
They asked this girl, there's a guy on TikTok, I love him. He's like my son's age. He's about 22. And
Mhm.
he challenges people about that. And this one girl was like, well, I didn't vote for Kamala. I didn't like what she did. What did she do? Well, she didn't do anything. So how can you say you didn't like what
So
she did? And
again,
now you're saying she didn't do
contradicting,
anything.
this is the dumbness that just dumber than dirt.
He said,
Dumber than
everybody in the
dirt.
chat is saying that she said, everybody in the chat is saying I didn't vote for her because she's black. And he goes, well, is that why you didn't vote for her? And she's like, that's what they're all saying. He goes, okay, then tell me you didn't vote for her for any other reason but her being black. And I will tell everybody in the chat to shut up. They're wrong. She got off the chat. She got off the live.
Because, well, yeah, she couldn't follow through with that. And the fact that she's a woman. I mean, you got two against one here. And when
But
it comes
the J6 people, one the other day shot and killed for trying to run from it was on video. I watched the video. He was pulled over, didn't have a license, said proudly he was a J6er, but no, he doesn't have a license. Yes, he's in the middle of committing a crime basically at that point. I can't remember what he was doing. But they said, okay, we're going to impound your car. He's like, I need my car. I need my car. And then he got back in the car, grabbed something from the glove compartment, and they blurred it out, and he was shot by the cop. So I think he grabbed a gun because
Mhm.
everyone was saying the cop did what the cop's supposed to do. His life was in jeopardy. So that's one January 6th. Another January 6th was already shot and killed. Another January 6er killed either pedestrian or in a car accident. One, I can't remember honestly, but killed a mom and her daughter in a car accident or hit them with her car. Another one,
Mhm.
I mean, just one after another, continuing to commit crimes. There's one J6er. She's, I think, 70 something years old. And she refused the pardon from Trump. And her reasoning was, and I'm sorry, guys, if I'm wrong about the age, but she said, I did do it. It's a cult. I was stuck in the cult and I did do what they said and I take responsibility and I'm sorry for it and I hate myself for it, but I am responsible. So the pardon to say I did nothing, she doesn't accept it. And she said, it is a fucking cult. She is
Mhm.
no longer a Trumper. But
Mhm.
it's like, good, you saw the light. Thank you.
Yep.
You know,
Some
so
people will figure it out. But I just, again, there's still such a huge amount of people that aren't seeing it and that refuse to
no.
see it. So like we're getting exactly what we voted for. This is exactly what I voted for until it doesn't serve you.
My
Until it
Medicare, my Medicaid, it's gone.
Mhm.
I didn't think that was going to come to me.
Mhm.
The vast majority of Medicaid people
Mhm.
are Republican, are in red states.
I know. I know.
Now,
What about veterans?
oh, fuck the veterans. Did you see what the Attorney General or whatever said? I think it was Pam Bondi, whatever, that they shouldn't be working at this point anyways. They're not fit for a job, apparently.
But their VA, they're not getting their pay. It's been cut.
But what the fuck? All the layoffs of veterans, they shouldn't be working. They're not fit to work. Okay, they're fit to serve our country until they can't serve our country anymore. Then let's just get them out.
But
Again, sorry.
their pay's been cut. I was watching a that like
Yeah,
a thing.
that's the disability and all those kind of payments. But the ones that had jobs, a
Oh yeah, right.
huge amount of veterans worked in federal jobs.
I know, but now I know. And then the ones that are on disability or
Yeah.
off leave and you're supposed to get their pay, it's apparently being upheld or it's being withheld, not upheld, sorry.
Yep.
Withheld. With no, oh, it's an administration delay or issue. Yeah, right. They've never had that issue before.
But how dare you say that our veterans aren't fit to be working in jobs with the federal government? What the
Well, just like
fuck?
people, air traffic controllers, apparently dwarfism is a real problem.
I ask people all the time that voted for Trump, please tell me two things. One is, how was your life or your immediate family's life affected by negatively by Biden? And I don't want to hear my sister's cousins, friends, dog walkers, boyfriends, high school teachers, whatever story. I want to hear how you were impacted. Not a one has responded ever. And then I asked, okay, you're not going to give me that answer because you haven't been. So, what is so much better about Trump? Please tell me why you voted for Trump. One person responded and they said, immigration. And I said, do you not realize that Biden deported more than Trump in his first term? Well, that was his first term. He's just getting started. Okay, so that was one response. Two was transgendered athletes. I said, are you fucking kidding me? There's maybe 10 in the NCAA. That's what you're worried about? That trumps everything. You're not in college. Your kids are male. They're not anywhere near men playing on women's teams. How did that affect you so much? Those 10 athletes that you put that the rest of the fucking shit didn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. You're holding on to one aspect that has no impact on your life at all.
Out of 350 million people in the United States, there's maybe 10 athletes in the NCAA, and that was worth it
Hmm.
to you.
Hmm.
He even had a girl, I saw this on TikTok. He had a girl at his speech who
Mhm.
was hit in the head at volleyball by a supposedly transgender athlete that spiked the ball and hit her in the head. Now her career is over.
Mhm.
Her family, someone said, "That's my cousin." And someone else said, "That's my cousin's daughter." They were
Mhm.
saying she's not even an athlete. And she went on to play softball and basketball that she posted on her page all the time. And she was never going to go to college as a volleyball player. And people get hit like that in the head with a spike. That's one of the most common injuries in volleyball. But
Mhm.
of course, Trump has to play it up in his speech about she was on her way to becoming an NCAA player for volleyball, and this happened by a transgendered athlete, ruined her career. And her
Mhm.
own family was saying, no, she didn't have a career.
Mhm.
You can't ruin something that was never.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, folks,
But we're safe. We're safe from transgendered athletes for now. It's so worth it. We don't have money in the stock market. We don't have health insurance. We don't have jobs. Won't
we're
have
about to
homes
go to
soon.
World War III.
Yeah,
You
but
take over other people's countries.
thank
United
God
States,
we don't have any transgendered
transgender
athletes.
athletes.
I can sleep so well now in my
Yeah.
cardboard
Yeah,
box
you're
on World
sleeping
War
so
III.
well when your leader has pissed off the entire world and he's just making it so much worse than it's just escalating.
I comfort myself by knowing that I am safe from transgendered people. That's a
It's
joke, people.
yeah, I know, right? Like that's what, yeah, I know. Of course. The
No,
facetious.
someone can take that out of context and
Oh,
say,
and it probably
"Ooh."
will because people are too stupid to fucking know that
Yeah,
you're being sarcastic. Yeah, no, really, people should not be sleeping okay right now. Our world is
no.
incredibly scary, and it's all due to this mindfuckery and Trump following through on all of this shit. I have never seen Trudeau in the 10 years he's 9 to 10 years he's run for Canada ever get that heated. Ever. Doug Ford ever get that heated. Prime Minister of BC, or sorry, the Minister of BC, never get this heated, saying we're pissed off. I've never seen our government get so riled up and so angry. And Trudeau being like, I loved it. Wall Street. He's like, I don't often agree with Wall Street, but I do agree with him on this. You are a very smart man, but this is a very dumb thing to do.
And he's starting a whole crypto thing. People still don't even see the grifter that he is, too. He's shilling hats and merchandise and shit from the
Oh, it's
Resolute
fucking
desk in the White House.
it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. This is a fucking like again, the US, and no offense, Joe, it's because I've got you and I've got so many American friends, like so many, and I used to go to the States I go to the States all the time. I'm not now because of what's going on, but and I'm scared to be honest. It's nerve-wracking. Like we don't know what's gonna happen. But you are the laughing stock of the entire fucking world.
But
Trump
see,
is the
in his
laughing
narcissistic
stock.
mind, he thinks the opposite.
Delusional, though, right? Again, he is delusional. He's got a distorted sense of himself and a distorted sense of reality and the world around him. He doesn't see that he is being laughed at. And the people that believe and think what he's doing is laughable.
And
The
he
whole
knows
world
it.
laughing at him.
He knows it. And it's called flying monkeys, people. All you MAGAs are flying monkeys.
You are, and that's again, people that support narcissistic people. You're no better than he is. You're just as narcissistic and fucked up as he is. So, again, from a Canadian, thank you so much for the fucking turmoil you're causing in my country, Trump and Vance and Marjorie Taylor Greene, who needs to be
And
fucked
Musk.
up, and Musk.
It's not, we can do a whole separate thing we already have on Musk, but this is so much content fodder. Unfortunately, I wish it wasn't. I'd rather be talking about narcissists in general than living in the case study of a narcissist.
But this is why this podcast was good and how to
Yeah.
relate it back. And it's not like we haven't said this from the beginning. I mean, years and years ago when he was in office the first time. But now saying it again, but still the frustrating part is going to be where people will not see it if they don't want to. They will
No, until
continue
it
to
hits them.
rationalize, justify his bullshit behavior, come up with the most ludicrous reasons or justifications that don't even make any sense and there's no logic and you're going
we're coming to the end and I want to end it on two things. One is I got in an Uber yesterday and it was a Tesla and the guy was African. And I said to him, "So, how do you like your Tesla?" And he goes, "The car I like, the man, absolutely not." He goes, "I want to sell this. I'm trying to sell this." And I said, "Before that, you could buy stickers that say, I bought this before I knew or before he was an idiot or whatever." He goes, "Really? I want to get them." But he's African. He's like, "I don't understand." He goes, I was gonna buy a house because Kamala, and now I can't even buy a house. I want to buy a car. I can't buy one for a while, and the tariffs." And so we were talking about how there are people that said after he was elected, "I thought that we were going to get money for a house." No, dumb fucks. That was Kamala.
Hmm. I
That was
know.
Kamala that said that. So
Yeah.
he was saying, it's so bad. But it was funny because I was waiting because I wanted to hear what he said about does he like the car? And I love how he added the car I like. The person,
I
the
don't.
man, not at all. So I
Hmm.
love that.
Hmm.
The second thing, fucking A.
Did you forget?
it. I forgot. I literally forgot.
It's okay.
But what I will say is this isn't on, sadly, this again, it gives us a lot of content, but I wish it didn't.
Well, it didn't, but it's again, we're going to keep going because Trump just
Yes.
do crazy things, and it's on the news every day, all day long. The most they just it's just insanity. It's absolute pure insanity.
And what I would encourage people, the ones that already know, great. But the ones that don't believe, go back to what we were saying about all the criteria. And as you are watching him,
Watch.
be honest with yourself. Be
Look how he
honest.
turns every conversation back on him. It's always about this is what me, and I just love, and they just love me, and I'm the best, and I. This is such grandiosity and such insane needing admiration, talking about himself. He's obsessed with himself.
I do want to say, did you see when Macron, is that how you pronounce it, Macron, corrected him?
Mhm.
Put his hand on him because he was saying, "We give, you guys get it all back." And he put his hand on him and he's like, "No, we don't get it back. We've given this." And Trump was like totally disregarding what Macron was saying. But I loved how he shut him down.
Mhm.
That's what we need. That's what one of the things I was going to say.
Oh, yeah. How about it's not transgender mice, it's transgenetic
Genetic.
mice. He's such a fucking idiot. Like he's such a fucking moron. He's so stupid, so uneducated. He said transgender, not transgenetic. There's a big difference. Hello? A transgender mouse? Really? The mouse is like, I really wanted a penis and not a vagina because
Exactly. What do they, how their researcher went, "Oh, they're displaying feminine traits, so let's put them on
I don't
hormone
know.
blockers." I mean, it's just yeah, mice are transgender. They started carrying purses and wearing dresses. Like, okay.
I know.
And again, both Brie and I have been in narcissistic relationships. And
Yeah.
I understand when you're in it, but you don't know. But you don't want to admit.
You're on it. You just don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Well, here's the thing. You know, but you don't know because of the gaslighting and a lot of the emotional
Right. Yeah.
abuse when in an intimate relationship. But in the relationship of you being brainwashed, just like being in a cult or a religion, and you're believing a leader, because you desperately want to believe the leader for whatever it's going to benefit you in some way, or you think
Yeah.
it's going to benefit you. And maybe a lot of you are choosing to continue to be willfully blind because you're too scared to actually see what's right in front of you, because then
Yeah.
what? Then you were wrong. Then you have
You're embarrassed.
and you're embarrassed.
You have to admit that you were.
Also, or like you're holding on to false hope that something is going to happen that he promised he would
Yep.
do. But so you're just going to keep holding faith. You're going to keep on holding on, or you're going to keep holding on to that hope.
A big thing with people in narcissistic relationships, especially if everybody likes him,
Mm.
Then you got to tell them, and they're not going to believe you. He's a piece of shit. This is what he's doing. No, he's not. No, he's not. It's got to be you. Or they didn't like him and they're telling you, and now you have to say, you're right. That's the hardest thing for MAGA when they find out
Totally. I know.
you were right. So, again, I encourage you, if you don't believe that we can diagnose him as narcissistic and ASPD, hear what we said. And I would love you to put it in the comments kindly. Shouldn't even have to say that, but in the comments, how we're wrong, how you see us being wrong, how he doesn't meet those criteria.
Mhm.
Because I
We're
would
not
love to know
talking
the hot
about
process.
what he's told you. We're not talking about what he's promised you. We're not talking about any of that. We're talking about his personality characteristics and traits.
Yeah.
Talking about the way he speaks, what you've seen, all of the examples of being him for the last 8 years, and how you can apply it to the traits that are in this psych,
Yes.
like it's the American psych.
Take that one collective brain cell, hijack it, use it. Don't
Yeah.
split it up among them. And honestly, oh, I know this is one thing I was going to say, and I will end it on this. I'm sorry. I will end it on this. More and more people, and he's already admit that he's rigged the election. He's admitted it out loud. He has said it. Just like narcissists will tell you who they are,
Yeah, and tell it and then tell on themselves. They tell
they
on themselves all the time.
absolutely do. Like my ex said, I'm just a piece of shit. No, you're not. No, you're not. They're telling you who they are. He is telling us he rigged the election. He said it in those words. The election was rigged and I became president. He said it. Elon went to Pennsylvania and he knows all about the computers and I got to be president. He said it.
He told on himself. Yeah, so here's the thing, and why can't anybody go back and the Democrats, why can't they go back and hold them to that? Why can't they go and do it doesn't matter at this point about being taking he won, they didn't. If it was a fair election, fine. But if it wasn't and it was rigged, why wouldn't you fucking investigate it?
Supposedly it's being investigated. Everybody's saying online that agrees
Who knows,
it's
maybe.
being investigated. We need the proof. Stuff needs to be done. Because again, when they tell you who they are, you fucking listen.
Listen and you believe them. Yeah,
Because
well,
that's the only time they're telling you the truth.
that's very true. So there you go. So we'll end it on that note.
On that note, like, follow, subscribe. I should probably say it in the beginning, but like, follow, subscribe. Thank you so much. We have got almost 200 new subscribers. Thank you all so much. That's awesome. And comment, share, please. We would love your comments.
Yeah, we love your perspectives, guys. Again, being working in mental health and stuff, we're not close-minded people. We're trained not to be. We're very open-minded, but we're also trained to be like see what's right. Human behavior. That's what we study for a living, right? So
We're experts in human behavior.
that's what we do. So again, we're just curious, and it's not that we're trying to offend one side versus another. We're trying to again see rather than somebody's own perspective and their own opinion, because it's not about an opinion, it's about what's right in front of you, what's reality and what isn't reality, right? Yeah.
Yep.
On that note, we'll see you next time. Have a good day.